What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. Welcome to our daily show where we discuss everything going on here in our country, in Washington, D.C., daily news that you need to know about, including money, investing, the stock market, the fourth stimulus package update, and stimulus check updates. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, make sure to click the subscribe button down below. It's completely free to do so. And remember that new videos come out here on our YouTube channel every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thanks, guys. You guys are the best. And don't forget to hit the like button for us down below. We got a lot to talk about here. We have Republican Senator Lindsey Graham with some very interesting things that they are potentially going to be holding Russian President Putin accountable in international criminal court, the ICC. You'll hear directly from him. And we have some good news from Democratic Senator Joe Manchin on the next stimulus package. Yeah, we have a lot to talk about here in this video, so let's jump right in. First, here is Republican Senator Lindsey Graham, who says that they may be able to hold Russian President Putin accountable. Check this out. Very interesting.
Like many Americans and people throughout the world, it's been hard to sleep at night watching war crimes unfold on television and just feeling frustrated that you can't do more. So I'm going to take that frustration and channel it into action. There's so many tools in our toolbox as a nation and a world to fight back against Putin and his cronies. And one of the tools is the rule of law. I want to live in the world where the rule of law trumps the rule of gun. This is a defining moment, I think, for the rule of law and how it can make the world a better place. For the last 20 years plus, Putin has maintained power by imprisoning his opponents, by assassinating people who disagree with him. The Russian state has collapsed. The Duma is a puppet. The courts have been neutered. And it is now time for him to pay. The world has let him get away with too much for too long. He's stolen the Russian people blind. He's murdered Russian citizens to maintain his iron grip on the country. To the Russian people, I doubt if you can hear my words, but our fight is not with you. You're a victim of Putin as much as anyone, maybe more than most. And I just wanted to let you know that we understand the difference between the Russian people and Putin. But we're going to need your help. In bringing justice to the table, you're going to have to suffer. There is no way to bring this to heel without tremendous economic sanctions, without arming our friends in the Ukraine. But also, I want the Russian people to understand that the world will now act. The Ukrainian people are the poster child for freedom fighters in the 21st century. The reason the world is rallied so much against Putin is because of Ukraine, more than any American politician, including me. The German people have met the moment. Things are going on in the world I thought were really not possible just a few weeks ago. And I think the real catalyst for the change is the bravery of the Ukrainian people and the outrage that we have as a world against what Putin is doing. So I've been a military lawyer for 33 years, I was. And part of my job was to train our pilots. I was a member of the Air Force, Air National Guard, and Air Reserve on the law of war. We are a rules-based military. We're a military based on ethics, and we do our best, and sometimes we fail, to follow the law of armed conflict. The law of armed conflict has really been more robust than any time in history after World War II. So what I'm doing today, along with Representative Sparks, is introducing a resolution supporting the complaint filed by the Ukrainian government against Putin in the International Criminal Court alleging war crimes on his behalf. The International Criminal Court was set up during the Balkans War. There have been 161 individuals indicted and convicted, ranging from common soldiers to prime ministers and generals. The United States is not a member. We've had some problems with the court in the past. When the court tries to go after Israel or Rumsfeld here in the United States, I think that's off base. The court is designed to bring justice to those where there is no rule of law to bring justice to them. So the first thing you have to understand or make a decision, is there a rule of law in Russia viable enough to hold Putin accountable? And the answer is no. That was the same in the Balkans. So this is a good example of where the International Criminal Court, I think, should exercise jurisdiction. So I have a resolution. It's a sense of the Senate resolution. I'm sure Representative Sparks will do the same in the House, where I want the Senate to vote and speak with one voice in support of this complaint. I think the entire world, those who believe in the rule of law, need to speak on behalf of this complaint. We're not prejudging the outcome. We're just saying this is a good thing to be doing. This is a legitimate complaint in our eyes, and we'd ask the ICC to investigate. And I want to let the Russian generals and the Russian pilots know that you follow the orders of Putin at your own peril. You can find yourself in The Hague if you drop cluster bombs on civilians, if you use vacuum bombs, if you have a scorched earth policy to get the Ukrainian people to submit to your will. So the world is watching you, not just Putin. And I will do everything in my power, as long as it takes, to be a voice for justice for the Ukrainian people, to hold one of the most vicious people on the planet finally accountable, Putin and all of his cronies. Enough of the murder, enough of destruction and carnage on your behalf. There'll come a day when the rule of law will trump the rule of the gun. And that day, I hope, will come sooner rather than later.
So yeah, let me know your thoughts here in the comments. The International Criminal Court is looking into Russia and Putin and could be declaring him a war criminal. Yeah, so imagine if the world declares Putin a war criminal for the entire world to see here, and what could come of that. Even if nothing comes of that, imagine if the world and the International Criminal Court declares for the entire world to see that Russian President Putin is a war criminal. Imagine the message that sends to the world. Also, I looked up Senator Lindsey Graham. He was in the Air Force and the National Guard. Um, you learn something new every day. So I want to thank him for defending our country. Thank you for your service. Also, seems to be a great time right now. Anybody watching this show or any family members of anybody watching the show, thank you for defending our service, or thank you for defending our country. Thank you for your service. So seems like a appropriate time with everything going on here in our country to say that right now, because everything going on here. It's quite the time to reflect on that right now. It seems like a very, very appropriate time with everything going on here in the world that definitely should give thanks to anybody that you know who helped defend our country, and reserves, Air Force, Army, Navy, anything along those lines. Definitely call them up, give them thanks today, and say, you know what? Thanks for what you did for our country. Yeah, definitely. So to go from a Republican, Senator Lindsey Graham, to a who's kind of a centrist. He's kind of a middle of the road. Well, sometimes he's a far right leaning, but sometimes he's a middle of the road leaning. To Joe Manchin, sometimes middle of the road leaning Joe Manchin, but sometimes he's sided with the left here too. Remember, with the third stimulus check package, he voted all the way with the Democrats, where all the Democrats passed the third stimulus check package, the $1,400 stimulus checks, the $1,400 checks for adult dependents and college student dependents, $1,400 stimulus checks for children. All those were passed just by the Democrats underneath Biden. It's basically the first thing they passed when they came into office. And they passed that without any Republicans at all. Now, remember, though, that Republicans passed the 2017 Trump tax cuts when Republicans were in control with Lindsey Graham and Trump. They passed back in 2017, when Republicans were in control of the House, the Senate, and the presidency. They passed with the reconciliation process without any Democratic votes. So Republicans had their shot at the reconciliation process. That's when you only need 50 votes in the Senate instead of the normal 60 votes. So Republicans passed a major bill, the 2017 Trump tax cuts, without any Democratic votes. Then the Democrats came along when Biden was in presidency, as he is now, basically as soon as they came in. And Joe Manchin sided with the Democrats. He's a Democrat, and passed the first stimulus package underneath Biden with the $1,400 stimulus checks. Since then, Joe Manchin's like, slow down a little bit. So I don't know if we want to pass another big, massive stimulus package right away, right after that. And that's kind of where we've been since. But we've had kind of a lot of other stimulus things going on. If you've been watching our channel, all these states passing all these stimulus checks. The child tax credits have been going out every month until January and February now. And now they've been paused as they're trying to figure out what to do. But now we have Republican support from Republican Mitt Romney and a couple other Republicans behind him. And now all of a sudden that there's Republican support behind that and maybe some other items and possibly some standalone bills. Now all of a sudden, Joe Manchin says, well, maybe I'm ready to wheel and deal now. Yeah, as you can see here, Joe Manchin's now making headlines as he's realizing that the Democrats might be able to pass the Build Back Better package, or the new Build Back Better package, which could be called Made in America. Without Joe Manchin, they might be able to do it with Republicans. You can see here, Joe Manchin just sketched out a new spending bill that can get his vote, potentially because they might be able to pass it without Joe Manchin now that Republicans are potentially coming on board. This could be Biden's last shot to lock in a win with his economic agenda before the midterm elections, which are just later this year. So Joe Manchin's like, well, if Republicans are coming on board like Mitt Romney, that could be the 50th vote. I better hurry up and do this before the Democrats replace me. Joe Manchin, better hurry up and do that, right? So yeah, Joe Manchin's apparently on board, as you can see here, for a new spending bill. The spending bill that Biden in theory is crafting here, as he talked about on his new speech when he gave at the State of the Union. And Joe Manchin, in theory, is crafting a new bill as well. Neither of which have specifics yet. Biden talked about the new Made in America bill, which is going to be probably the Build Back Better Bill 2.0. Probably will be some new things in there. Nothing's in writing yet. And Joe Manchin says that he has some things in mind as well for his new stimulus package. One of the main things for Joe Manchin's stimulus package that he would like to see is to reduce the deficit. So he would like to see potentially, say, a $1.8 trillion stimulus package or $1.5 trillion stimulus package, but have it be more than paid for. More than paid for. So if Joe Manchin's stimulus package, say, is $1.5 trillion, he would like to have the pay-fors be $1.7 trillion so that they could reduce the budget, reduce the deficit by a couple $100 billion. So we'll take that $30 trillion deficit and we'll make it $29.8 trillion deficit. To me personally, that's not going to make a difference to anybody. I don't think that that's going to lower inflation. Just me personally, I don't think that the whole deficit clock. You can look this up here on this website, usdebtclock.org, and see kind of a real time estimate of the U.S. national debt, $30 trillion here. Um, yeah, this is it, and this is just how much it costs to run the country. And you can't blame this on Trump or Biden or any previous president because they've all added to it. You can see the cost of Medicare, the cost of Social Security, the cost of defense, $722 billion per year, And I mean, we need that. I mean, we need Medicare, we need Social Security, we need interest to pay for all this stuff, right? Um, Everything. Remember that Trump added about $8 trillion to the debt in just 4 years. And I'm not knocking Trump because Biden's probably going to do that as well. So I'm not knocking Biden either. In all fairness, it's just how much it costs to run the country and pay for all these things. So if you're going to spend that amount of money, you might as well help out your citizens and the people in need as well. They did send out 3 stimulus checks here in the past, however many months, right? And rent assistance and mortgage assistance and utility assistance and SNAP assistance. But honestly, there's 30.295, so we might as well say $30.3 trillion in national debt. Is it going to make a difference if it goes from 30.3 trillion to 30.1 trillion? Is that going to make any of you guys sleep better at night? Does anybody here think that that is going to reduce inflation? I don't. I don't. That's just my personal thought. If anybody here thinks that that is different, I mean, we can have a difference of opinion. That's perfectly okay. But if you look at this number is literally climbing by the second. So for them to make a dent here in this, they have to do not just like a one-time package that's going to reduce something. They have to do like inflationary policies. Look at this clock just running here by the second. This is just how much it costs to run our country, guys. It's and one could almost argue that in 1990, this is my thing I always say here. In 1990, this was about 3 or 4 trillion. Now it's 30 trillion. So in 20 or 30 more years, this is going to be like 50 or 60 trillion. One could almost say that this number doesn't really matter. It's almost a fictionary number because the US prints money. So again, 62% of people didn't pay federal taxes last year. And if 62% of people are not paying federal taxes, we're not talking about state taxes or sales taxes or anything. Taxes are at an all-time low. Okay? So, I mean, if taxes are at or near an all-time low, I mean, the government doesn't seem to be worried about taking in tax revenue. Corporations they're trying to raise taxes on corporations and wealthy people, which they may do. That could affect the deficit, but it's just inflation is more of a function on reducing or raising interest rates and supply chains and the price on gas, the price on cars, not necessarily the debt, because as you see here, the debt is just going up regardless. Um, Anti-inflationary policies are a little bit different, And if it's rising that much anyways, you might as well help the people. Helping the people that live and breathe and do the working and the struggling and the breathing in this country every day, you might as well take some of that money and use it to help the people. Because that money it's being spent anyways, right? Am I right? So at least they have actually done the right thing. Both Biden and Trump have sent out stimulus checks, have sent out rent assistance, have sent out mortgage assistance, have sent out utility assistance. States are sending out stimulus checks right now, utility assistance, more and more stimulus programs, SNAP assistance, extra pandemic assistance, pandemic EBT assistance. So thankfully, they are sending out all this extra assistance here that actually, without the pandemic, wouldn't even be going out. So by and large, there is a lot of this extra stuff that's going out here. But this next stimulus package, hopefully they can get it passed this year. Hopefully there's stimulus checks in there, but also additional things like reducing the cost of prescription drug pricing for the long term, forever, because that would be a more so than a stimulus check one time or something like that, but it would reduce the cost of prescription drugs for like 100 plus million people forever. Reducing the cost of that forever, very, very big thing. Reducing the cost of things like childcare and pre-K forever. Okay, when you do something like that and you reduce the cost of something forever, that's like a stimulus that continues to go on. Reducing the cost or adding in benefits like hearing, dental, and vision into Medicare. Those are benefits that are added in at not just one time. I don't know why those are not in there for the majority of seniors, but those need to be in there for all seniors. Okay, they need to get that changed, and Bernie Sanders has been pushing for that, and they need to make a change on that. And hearing, dental, and vision needs to be covered for all seniors on Medicare, Medicaid, and all these additional benefits. And it's a lot of these different things. And same thing with paid family and medical leave. We're the only first world country to not have that, but yet we're supposed to be the greatest country in the world. But when a mother goes to give birth on a Friday, if she doesn't work at a really good company that has paid family and medical leave, which very few countries have, she's expected to go back to work on Monday after she just gave birth. Or if you catch the virus, if you don't have sick days, you're expected to go back to work the next day, which you can't do because you have to quarantine, and people can't afford to miss work. There's no paid family and medical leave or sick leave. If they pass that in this next stimulus package, the government would pay for that. Think about how many people have gotten sick and had to miss work and didn't get paid for it. That's what I'm saying. There's so many different stimulus policies that are in or would be in Build Back Better. It's going to be changed a little bit now, that would create these different type of programs that would pay paid family and medical leave. Would literally, the government would pay you when you need this paid family and medical leave, would pay for childcare and pre-K, would reduce the cost of prescription drug pricing, all these different things, right? They put money in your pocket in one way or another. There's a lot of different things here that really need to be done. And Joe Manchin says he's on board with this new version of the stimulus package here, finally. And it just needs to be more than paid for. And we'll have to see what it's going to be all about. So the good news is here, Joe Manchin says he's on board with a new stimulus package here. So we'll have to see what it's going to end up being. So let me know your thoughts here in the comments. I will keep you up to date here with everything. Make sure to click the subscribe button down below. If you haven't subscribed to our YouTube channel yet, it's completely free to do so. This way you won't miss out on new videos that come out here on our YouTube channel every day at 10 a.m., 3 p.m., and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Times. Remember those times so you don't miss out on new videos. If you haven't subscribed yet, click the subscribe button right now, and then click the bell icon that appears next to the subscribe button after you subscribe, so you don't miss out on new videos. I'll keep you up to date here with everything. You can click here to watch my newest video next. And you can click here to see how some new checks are going out as anti-inflationary checks. And there could be even more coming. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.